Miranda Wang, a senior studying cell and molecular biology, engineering entrepreneurship, and philosophy, is co-founder and CEO of BioSelection, a startup that uses biology techniques to create a new kind of fish food using plastic waste. She's here today to talk with Knowledge at Wharton High School about her life as an entrepreneur, as well as her involvement with TED. Miranda, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
So I just have a few questions about your life as an entrepreneur as well as a speaker. So what sparked your idea to use biotechnology to solve the growing global problem of plastic pollution? And what kind of progress have you made in this area?
Right. So this actually started out when I was in high school. I took a trip to, it was a really cool opportunity. I took a trip to a landfill summer after my junior year. And I think what really hit me was not just that, the landfills are so massive, or even just looking at our waste after it's taken out of the household, but looking at really what I call the afterlife of plastics. And realizing that plastics are this tremendous proportion of all the waste that we have, and realizing that from speaking to the people at the landfill, that plastics is the main problem, and it seems to have an immutable afterlife. Even though the pieces break, they disintegrate into smaller and smaller pieces. They never chemically break down. And at that time, as an aspiring science student, I really wanted to see if there are ways to pursue, finding solutions for this environmental problem that has a lot of huge social effects using science. And there was a unique opportunity to do this during a science competition. So my best friend at the time and now co-founder, she and I actually did this as a research project with Professor Dr. Lindsay Eltis at the University of British Columbia. And then, this project, we ended up competing at the national level and then taking this to speak at the TED conference. And throughout my entire time at TED, at Penn, actually, I've actually continued working on plastic, the research for plastic biodegradation, as well as looking at the medical health effects of plastic pollution as well. And that's really led to, this startup that we founded called BioSelection. This startup was founded last year in May, and the current stage we're at right now is we're kind of in between a seed stage and a Series A, and we're about halfway finished building a genetically modified bacterium that can break down plastics about 80 times faster than the best-known organism, and we currently hold 2 provisional patents for this technology. And like you said, one of the products downstream of the science is that after the bacteria breaks down the plastic waste, because of the chemistry that happens in the cell is able to do this in a completely non-toxic way. So the cell protein can actually be used to feed fish, and we've demonstrated a 73% mortality rate reduction in salmon fish this past summer through feed trials.
Wow, that's amazing. And delving deeper into your appearance on TED, that seemed like it was a major influence in your entrepreneurial interests. So can you share with us how you got involved in that and what you've taken away from your experience?
Right. So it was actually a really serendipitous opportunity to have been invited to speak at TED. I have to admit that before we were invited to get involved with that, I actually didn't know very much about the TED conferences. So I was very surprised senior year of high school, this is right after we competed at the science competition, that, I received an email. I was in chemistry class, and then I received an email from the content director of TED inviting me to basically go for an audition event. So that year was 2012, and TED was doing a really cool multi-city tour. So they visited 13 cities around the world and hosted, 13 different audition events, and about 300 different speakers from local areas actually went and auditioned. And we were invited for that opportunity, and there was a live audience. Everybody got to vote for their favorite speakers, and from there we were selected to speak at main stage. So this is definitely a very unconventional kind of path to becoming a TED speaker, but I think this experience has really exposed me to a lot of the leading thought leaders in this field, and has in many ways motivated me to go an unconventional course at Penn and become an entrepreneur.
Great. And So how would you say your high school experience shaped your interest in these fields like entrepreneurship, public speaking, environmental protection? And do you feel like you had a chosen direction even before you graduated?
Graduated from Penn or high school?
Or from high school?
From high school. Now I think about it, definitely yes. In high school, I was actually part of a leadership program that was kind of like my school's version of a magnet school or an IB. And this program really, got me trained in a lot of skills for public speaking. It gave me a lot of preparation for teamwork and leadership. And now that I think back on it, a lot of these kind of skills that I have are actually soft skills I have are developed from a really early teenagehood. And also my interest in science, like my high school, so I grew up in Vancouver, Canada. Vancouver is a place where people are very environmentally conscious, and I was always involved in a lot of extracurriculars. Like my current co-founder and I were co-presidents of our high school environment club, and we actually built an organic garden from scratch in the front of our school. And this wouldn't have been possible if we didn't have teachers in high school that supported us. So really all these things, led to this combination of interests I have today from a very early stage.
So taking that one step further, how has your college experience likewise shaped your interests and helped them to grow and mature?
Right. Even after I spoke at TED, it was not obvious to me that people can make a living by doing science entrepreneurship. Like this was not, even though there are people running biotechnology companies and biomedical devices companies, but it's not something I realized I thought I could do, especially as someone who still an undergrad and obviously has a long way to go to do some sort of what I thought was like basic research in this area, because not that many people are working on plastic pollution, and nobody is currently working on a technology to solve the plastic pollution problem. So it really wasn't something I thought was possible until I came to Penn and then started taking this, my majors in molecular biology. One of my minors is engineering entrepreneurship. So I took classes in both Wharton and also in engineering to really learn how to manage high-tech startups. And when I realized this is something you can learn and you can tangibly apply an assortment of different skills to make your vision become a reality and making a high impact for the world. So Penn has empowered me to do all of these things.
And so you spent a lot of time immersed in the entrepreneurial culture here at Penn, as well as working with high-caliber students and adults. So what do you feel defines success, and what characteristics do you value in the people and entrepreneurs that you admire?
That's pretty hard, but I think one thing I value a lot in people I work with is probably sincerity. I think from some people that I really look up to, some of my best mentors, they're the kind of people where the first time you talk to them, you just feel that connection. You feel like they are committed to helping you, and they're very genuine about it. There's that level of trust and rapport that just builds that first minute, and I think every successful person I know has that certain, I would even call it charisma, to have other people be able to trust them and to really be able to, behave in a consistent way, follow up and help people so that you can continue building on this relationship. Because I think being in business, especially for someone who's so young like me and so inexperienced, a lot of what I'm able to do depends on the relationships that I have and the mentors and the ideas that I'm able to get. So, a lot of the things that is talked about in Silicon Valley is paying it forward. So that means, before you go out and reach out to someone for help, think about ways that you can do to contribute to this community. And so, it becomes more like everybody's mutually helping each other as opposed to I'm trying to take from this community.
Right. And so how would you define success based on your experiences?
That's a very difficult thing to to make a definition of. But I think success can be really explained in many ways. The most important thing to me is people doing what they believe in, despite odds, and having the courage to do that, because it's difficult, especially being a young person in college, where the culture, especially in the Ivy League, pushes us towards certain notions of success. And the minute, I realized I didn't want to fit into any of that. I'm in biology, so obviously I was pushed toward pre-med. And Penn at General is just a lot of, stuff, hype for Wall Street. When I realized I didn't fit into either of these niches, I felt like I needed to redefine my notion of success. And to me, that was doing what I think is right and what I think is going to excite me every single day, despite going against the norm.
Great. Thank you so much for being here and telling
thank
us
you.
about your experiences.